Hey, everybody. What's up? So, I'm just getting on here just for a quick second. There's some breaking news, and that is Tucker Carlson he just announced on Twitter that he's going to be launching a new show on Twitter, which is that's kind of interesting. And his reason being that one of the last spaces that are left in all of media, including social media, is Twitter. And I believe that to be somewhat true. I don't know exactly how they're going to format the show. That's going to be a little weird because I know Twitter has always been a little wonky when it comes to like long format, like videos and even text. So I guess that conversation he had with Elon Musk, it yielded something. But one I want to say something. The fact that he announced that, the fact that Tucker Carlson is going to be launching a new show on Twitter, that's a very good thing. And I think what he just did was he handed a really big alley oop to independent journalists everywhere. And for me, that's the biggest plus of this entire thing. Whether you agree with his politics or not, I mean, it's fair to say that the whole corporate media machine is nothing but propaganda, and we're not even given real information anymore. We're just given uh, interpretations of what they want us to believe. So whether it was left wing propaganda or right wing propaganda, it's always been propaganda. And while Tucker Carlson did also engage in that propaganda, he was one of the few, if not the only one, who spoke so much truth that it got him fired. Like I can't think of anybody else in corporate media that was fired for telling the truth. That's crazy. Like in corporate media, you can lie. You know, his job, he was thriving in his job when he was lying, you know, as everybody else does on the left and right. But the moment he started telling the truth about the proxy war in Ukraine, about um, people's free speech, you know, the right to free speech, when he started pushing back against, you know, all of these foreign policies and American imperialism, you know, when he started speaking out against the war machine, about against big pharma, who basically stand as the advertisers for all of these corporate media platforms, you know, that's when he became a problem and everybody and he got fired. I mean, that's just what it is. And the dangerous thing about the way that we approach Tucker Carlson in particular is that we've been throwing away a lot of useful information just because based upon the messenger of that information. And while I mean I don't particularly like Tucker Carlson, I think he's a brilliant journalist, to be honest, but I think he uses his brilliance to to skew certain information to a racist leaning towards racist leanings. And to me, that's the only major thing that I see wrong with Tucker Carlson as a journalist. He engages in a lot of racist dog whistling. But I think we have to also be emotionally intelligent enough to eat the meat and spit out the bones. We have to be able to still absorb information, even if it's coming from a source that we don't like. That's the biggest problem. The politics of emotion. And we're very heavy in using our emotions whenever we're trying to absorb information. And that's usually the easiest way to basically block yourself from receiving information is when it's wrapped up in your own emotionalism. And I think because, you know, we get so offended by pretty much everything nowadays, when you're dealing with someone like Tucker Carlson, it becomes very easy to completely dismiss every single thing that he's saying. And so um, I personally, I look forward to Tucker Carlson getting his own platform on Twitter. I think it's weird, a little weird that he puts it on platform on Twitter, but I get why. I understand why, and maybe it's kind of a safety net a little bit because I'm sure he's still bound by contract to Fox News, even though I think his attorneys just announced that they that Fox News is in breach of contract. So technically, he's not breaching the contract because Fox News has breached their contract with him based upon certain material representations they made to him as far as what he would be offered, what he'd be allowed to do. And they also made representations that, and even the things that they were not supposed to release. Like, you notice that once Tucker Carlson was out and Fox's ratings started tanking, they all of a sudden all these leaks started coming out about Tucker Carlson, his text messages, all these videos, and these are all things that were clearly in the exclusive possession of Fox. So whether they want to try to say someone stole it or this, or it doesn't matter. He was supposed to be protected as well under his contract with them. So if they breached their contract with him, then technically he's not in breach because they already breached it first. So I know based upon that, they're saying they're moving forward with the show, and maybe because they're not doing it on like Rumble, YouTube, or any other like streaming platform that's more equipped for this. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe there's some obscurity in the fact that it's on Twitter, like it's tweeting platform, so it's more. I don't know, but at the end of the day, I think people who think critically and objectively should be celebrating this. Not celebrating Tucker Carlson, but celebrating this as a major win for journalism, especially independent journalism. Because as it is today, even a lot of the so-called independent journalism that you see out there, a lot of these people are pretty much becoming absorbed into the corporate media landscape by trying to maintain access to certain media outlets, access to certain political candidates. It's becoming this big club, and we're not in it. As the American people, we're just not a part of that club. So, so outside of all of the politics and the hypocrisy coming from the left and the right, I say that Tucker Carlson, he's very much needed in media spaces. And I can tell you one reason why, like just the obvious reason. He was the sole voice in all of corporate media, cable news, that was even in the slightest bit holding the Biden administration and Republicans accountable for the disgusting, horrible foreign policies that have led us to this economic devastation that we're in right now. He was the only voice that was speaking out against this proxy war in Ukraine. And it's crazy because once they moved him out of the way and try to silence him, I mean, they already know that whatever Tucker Carlson says is going to have some impact on an election. But what they did by doing that to him, I think as well, is they martyred him. They made him a hero, the same way they made Donald Trump a hero with this political prosecution. Because no matter what you want to say, oh, he paid off a porn star, whatever, tax it, bruh. They impeached the dude twice. All of the things that you could have got Donald Trump on, that's what you're trying to go after him for. You know why they never try to go after Donald Trump for any real shit? Because if they were to lock him up, Joe Biden would also be culpable, would also be implicated as well, and previous presidents as well. It would be an indictment of all of them, and that's what people fail to realize. Remember when he was having that debate with Hillary Clinton when she was running, and she was talking to him about how corrupt he is and how he used the tax code to avoid paying $1 million. And what was his response? Yeah, I did it. So did Warren Buffett. So all of the people that give you money, all your donors. Yeah, if you had a problem with the tax code, then why don't you change it? But you won't because you benefit from it. So, that's the problem that they got with Trump. Trump is a little bit too honest, when he's too honest when they don't want him to be honest. Let's put it that way, because Donald Trump is a liar just like the rest of them. We know that, but he's uncontrollable. And that's why the political establishment does not like him. And that's why Republicans and Democrats are coalescing in around each other to stop him and to stop Tucker Carlson and anyone who can threaten the machine. And that's basically what it boils down to. Anyone that threatens the machine, even if they were previously a part of it, they are targeted for complete destruction. And we got to get out of our feelings and start becoming receptive to new information or any information. Just be receptive to information no matter where it's coming from. You have to be able to weed through, go through the weeds, to get to the information, and stop being so distracted by all of the crap they're throwing out at you in your face to keep you angry, keep you upset, and out of focus. That's how they continue to win over the American people. Education is a large part of this. We've become really dumbed down as a population. I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. We're not interested in anything. The things that we're interested in are not the things that actually benefit us. We're so easily distracted while the world is burning. So we need to get to a place when we start to care about what's going on. And the last reason why I would say that I'm actually happy that Tucker Carlson is going to be on Twitter is this. Cable news is a dying model. However, a large portion of voters, they are older people, and they don't know about the internet. They don't know about social media. They're not savvy in it. So the only place where they get their news is from cable TV, that old dying model. And I hate to say it, the younger people, they tend to be frustrated. They don't really come out like that in numbers. And, these old people, if there's one thing that they're committed to, it is doing their civic duty. They will be out there and vote. Because for a lot of them, that's the only thing that they have in their lives that even makes them feel like they matter. So they will be out there in numbers to vote. But the problem is they're so inundated with propaganda, they don't even realize that they're voting against their own interests. So for Tucker Carlson now to be on Twitter, which is such a huge platform that is used by a much younger demographic, I think that is going to be a huge deal, in that he is now going to be able to reach a much larger segment of the population, which is younger people. Now, I'm not trying to disparage Gen Z, but a lot of them, they're a little all over the place. But I think Tucker Carlson is not only going to reach, just the Gen X's and whoever's on social media, but I think in particular, the things that he says, I think they're definitely going to reach millennials. And the reason why I say so is because millennials they have experienced the greatest harm from the policies that we have allowed to destroy their lives. Like everything that millennials are going through, they're like the last generation that's right attached to the Gen X's. So they have some sense. They have sense, but they also grew up in a time with internet technology, and they're also a very, very hardworking group. And millennials, it's a shame, but you have so many millennials that they're educated, but they have a hard time, when it comes to the job market. A lot of these policies have left them in debt. They can't even afford to buy a house. Many of them can't even afford to rent. Like all of the policies that we advocated for and that we just fell in line for, a lot of them with the Democratic Party, to be honest, these things have left the younger generation destitute, and they're frustrated. But another thing about that generation is they have a lot of common sense. They are intelligent. So they are more capable of thinking critically without the attached emotion. So that's why I think it's going to be a positive thing that Tucker Carlson will get on Twitter. Not only, and I get it, he appeals to racists. That's true. But I think in the midst of his racism, there is an appeal to common sense and critical thinking that intelligent, emotionally mature people can take advantage of. So I feel great about it. I'm glad that he's there. And I hope him doing this serves as a platform to elevate more independent journalists who disagree with him, who vehemently disagree with him, because that's the purpose. We're all supposed to be able to debate ideas. I'm not I'm not trying to silence people who have a different point of view than myself. I would rather challenge their ideas and explain to them and display to everyone else why they are wrong. But the more you try to silence people from sharing their point of view, you just make yourself look less capable of articulating your point of view. You make yourself look far more disingenuous, biased, and frankly, shady. Because if you know that you represent the truth doesn't need a lie to be hidden. A lie needs the truth to be hidden. So before you guys start, caping for this censorship and silencing voices that you don't like and that make you uncomfortable, maybe you should step back for a second and think about why it is that you don't want to hear these mean, horrible things. Is it because it challenges you to challenge yourself and your own perspective? Are you trying to protect yourself from having to face reality that you've been denying yourself? Or is it that you're just so sensitive that you're unable to listen to anything that challenges your sensibilities and your sensitive state of being? So it's time for us to grow up, be a little bit more politically mature, and be open to new ideas, or at least allowing other people to share their authentic voices. Because at the end of the day, if you're unable to share your authentic voice, I damn sure want to hear someone else's, and I damn sure want to be heard. Peace.